Yay! Yo! Oh my goodness. You know I can't keep the smile off my face. Welcome back. Or I guess welcome for the first time, right? It's Call to the Pen HQ, part of the Hammer Network. What's up? It's your host, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide from Brooklyn, New York. As always, we coming out the chair as always. Woohoo, man! Do all the YouTube things, but I'm gonna put on a clinic. I'm gonna ask you to stick that cartoon finger right up inside me once we deserve it. Gosh, could you be any happier? The baseball's back. Steve W. already up in the chats, man. Comment, what's up, Big Jumbo? What's up, Steve Dub? Let's get this money, man, and let's have some fun doing it. And maybe more importantly, learn something. Let's get a little bit better doing the things that we do. Man, am I excited or what? I just live in Redline. I've been pumping out content just like nuts, man. The Tasmanian Devil is firmly out the cage. Let's do it. Today's going to be a lot of fun. And I think we're going to get to show off a bit of these analytical skills. We have a short slate today, of course. Go figure. Yesterday was like 15 slate, pouring out your nose. I couldn't even keep up all day long. And now it's like, all right, nothing till the PM. And only, I think, 5 games. So we're going to really, really dive on in and show everybody why you want to get down with Call to the Pen HQ, part of the Hammer, because of the nuance and the context. And I like to think maybe beyond just the game breakdown, some people know about baseball, that maybe I bring some unique perspective as far as trading and betting and risk management. And I think there really is quite a bit of overlap between the two. And I would actually suggest to lots of people out there into sports betting, there are some avenues in trading. Like if you really like the concepts of sports betting, there are some live cash markets out there you could do really well. All right, so just enough of that. We need more of this. It's the fastest show in MLB. Absolutely. Anywhere. You can take that bad boy to the bank and rubber stamp it. You know how we rock and roll here at Call to the Pen. Rate, review, and subscribe. Get up in the comments. I will hit you up because, without you, I'm just like some fat dude kind of screaming at his computer. All right, so who's first? Let's just dive right up into the games. We're going to get a few more bets out than we did yesterday. Maybe a bit more robust because now that I'm finding my groove, hitting the routine, the first day is a little different. Again, all the fantasy lineups and stuff. Guys know I'm kind of ubiquitous at this point. I'm playing best ball. I'm playing fantasy high stakes. I am betting on a high level because I think, I don't want to, right? If you're good at something, why give it away for free, like the Joker said. All right, so first up, it's the Let's Go Mets go. Going down to Florida to meet the Finns and Jesus Luzardo, the Jesus Lizard. It's David Peterson on the bump for the Mets. Man, aren't they grateful that they have some pitching depth? That Mets rotation already kind of hanging by a thread. We all know baseball, it's a war of attrition and a marathon, but generally you like to get off of the starting gate, right? That's generally at least right. What's a good start? How about a good start is a good start? At least getting an inning before a guy hangs a zero. My fantasy people know what that's like. You hope he'd give you something before he goes down. Well, Matt's very lucky that they have that pitching depth. David Peterson and Tyler McGill both going to get their, chance to sharpen their teeth at the bigs again. Peterson, not bad last year. We're going to dive in a bit more, again, the nuance and the context that we love right here. 105 innings last year, 3.83 ERA, 1.33 whip. That's a bit high. The earn run indicators all looking pretty good, though. Nothing really above 4. Expected ERA, xFIP, all below 3.5. PFIP, which is Alex Chamberlain's new metric, at 3.67. I really like that. When he puts out something, at the very least, doesn't mean it's right, but at the very least, it's very well mathematically tested. And I like to just work them into baskets. And we all know earn run average and all these earn run indicators, none of them are going to be perfect. And the developers don't claim them to be. But we find really good ones working into a weighted basket, and I have found that that's really helped me. David Peterson, 28% K, which we love. The 10% walk rate, a bit high, but the swing strike rate is there at 13%, 30% whiff rate, always that benchmark. And he went inside the zone, in-zone contact rate right around 84. The things that we really like. He keeps the ball on the ground ball machine, 49%. That keeps the ball in the park, less than 1 home runs per 9. He's ridiculously tough on lefties. I wouldn't even think about starting lefties. He's striking around a third of lefties. He's walking, 11% of those righties. That's where those walks are going. But I still think Peterson is going to do pretty well. I got some notes here. So he's up a mile an hour year over year, 22 to 23, 21 to 22. I'm sorry. Too many walks, which I mentioned, but that swing strike rate up year over year. I guess something we like to look at the pitching trajectory, right? The arrow, which direction is it moving in? The fastball is not great. I think that's really the problem thing we're going to be looking for. 94 miles an hour, 38% use, a high, because of it has probably a bit too much sink. When you hear vertical movement, let's do a quick lesson because we're going to have time for that and again, the things that are going to separate us, right? If you hear somebody from a Call to the Pen crew talking about baseball at the bar, you'll know us because we're talking vertical movement. And that is a number that you want low as possible for a four-seamer, right? This is the idea of vertical movement of sink. We don't want sink. We want it flat, which is actually funny because the old adage is throwing a fastball straight as an arrow. Where in fact, if you actually threw it straight as an arrow, it wouldn't be bad. That would be 0 arm side run, right? No horizontal. But man, to keep it perfectly flat would be really good if you could throw it up in the zone. And that's where I wanted to get at. When you can keep it flat, no fastballs rise. They just don't sink as much relative to the field. Now, what that does, besides create a deceptive element, because it's so rare, right? It's not often seen, so it's more deceptive for the hitters that are used to anticipating more sink. If you then throw it up in the zone, it's harder to get to, right? There's more physical distance between the bat handle and where that pitch is going. And then on top of the deceptive element, and then again, if you're really good at it, you're missing out of the zone, right? Slightly out of the zone and just being really, really tough. And then we kind of mentioned this yesterday, regressing home with the fly ball rates and stuff like that. But Peterson's fastball, not great, but the slider really is. And that's what I wanted to circle. Again, you often hear me referring to individual pitches, which I think, of course, matter, and maybe even more so to side-handedness. Because oftentimes we see pitchers have multiple arsenals depending on the side. But just to the individual pitches, I've kind of come up with a quick shorthand, right? If you follow me, you kind of know, but for the newbies, I think this is really going to help people right off the bat. We want to give you the tools here at Call to the Pen, at the Hammer, and just get you going right off the bat, just kind of level you up. Because you already get it. There's sharp people here, obviously. But just sometimes, listen, I was an electrician in another life. You give somebody a better tool, they can be better, and they haven't changed. The skill level is the same. So when I like to refer to individual pitches, I use a triple slash, right? We're used to triple slashes of baseball. I like to make my stuff applicable, easily digestible. So usage, which makes sense. How often do you throw it? I like to use X-Slug because rather than XBA only describes if it would have been a hit. X-Slug describes damage, right? A home run, right? And with XBA of 1,000 opposed to X-Slug turn all the way up, which is 4. You want it to describe the damage done. Again, not perfect. You could also use X-Wobble. It's fine. They will correlate. The best would be X-Wobble Con to isolate it to contact. Those are a little bit harder, which is why I use X-Slug because it's readily available on Savant. But again, all these things are going to be the same. They're all going to basically perfectly correlate. But you want to describe contact, not to rely too much on it, but it is a good descriptive measure. Again, descriptive. And the last part is whiff rate, right? So when we use usage plus X-Slug plus whiff rate, we get deployment, contact allowed, plus swing and miss ability. And all of a sudden, you get a decent idea of what a pitch is, what a pitch is. So let's check this out. Well, I'm going to try and drop the parameters too. So the slider last year at 29% use, which is really at a primary level, right? Generally, if you have a pitch at 29, it's your most used pitch. He happens to be more of a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball 38, slider 29. I'd like to see him flip that. That was the thing that I was talking about because the slider is a 269 X-Slug, 48% whiff rate, opposed to the 20% whiff rate on the four-seamer. The reason it doesn't get the whiffs is because of the sinking motion that I mentioned before without too much onside run. I think it's 7.5 inches, which is below average. You want double digits, right? So the best fastballs are going to be 12 or less vertical, 9 or greater horizontal, meaning you're keeping it flat while getting run on it. Those are the whiff-inducing fastballs. Those are also the fastballs, I believe, if we identify, we can avoid stepping on the rake of auto-regressing statistics that maybe we shouldn't. All right, so how about that, man? If that didn't earn a like button, I don't know what did. Like, if that does that, I told you I was going to put on a clinic. And it only took 10 minutes. We put on a GD clinic up in here at Call to the Pen HQ. Rate, review, and subscribe. Press your cartoon finger and ring the bell, man. Hit the subscription, the notification, and that'll let you know when we're going live. It'll be 12 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. I'm bringing that smoke. And I got news for you, and you will see this. I hate to boast, but listen, proof is in the pudding. As this year goes on, you're going to see the plays that we drop here are going to be moving. They're going to move 30, 40 cents by the time the first pitch happens, and you're going to want to get them on the show because once people start getting a whiff of what's going on here, I mean, listen, there's a reason. Let's just leave it there. So Peterson looking really good. the flip side of that, Miami offense versus left-handed pitching. Yikes. Bottom 3 in BA, OBP, slugging, OPS, WRC plus, and last in 27.7% K rate. So, get it ready, producer Reno. We're going to lock it in. We have our very first play. We're going to go over 5.5 strikeouts for Mr. David Peterson. That's an even money against the Fish, which are tremendous strikeout risks against the lefty. And I think that we are going to get this one nicely. I also think that even money line, this will be our first case in point. Again, I like to show the receipts, right? I take a lot of losses, but I have a fair share of wins, right? I have a few ears on the necklace, if you're going to get that reference. So this prop is going to close at, I should have an envelope. I need an envelope next time to do like a Johnny Carson thing, I'm going to say minus 130, right? Maybe minus 135 even. That's where this bad boy closes. So let's get the CLV right now. Lock it in. I already posted it. If you want all of my stuff and all the algorithm stuff, you can get me on Twitter at John Lagezza, JOHNLAGEZZA. But I don't want to pump my own stuff. We're here for you, my new crew, man. Call to the pen, HQ. Oh, the HQ crew. I love that. I'm a poet. Didn't even know it. So we got our first. Miami really not any good. I know they added some contact hitters, but we've seen them. They're not any good. I also think we're going to see Peterson feature that slider, induce those whiffs, and get those Ks. We also know Mets bullpen is a bit dinged up. They use those guys. I think they're going to want Peterson to get through at least 6. So if he goes 6 innings, we should be good to go. Flip side for the Marlins, it's the Jesus Lizard. I love Jesus Luzardo. The velo is up a mile an hour. Last year, we also saw a pitch mix change, which, listen, is not always like this indicative of being great, but he started featuring the slider. So when you're featuring your best pitch, that's always the thing we want to do. 30% use, 282 xlog, a 41% whiff rate. He also has a 40-plus whiff rate, 45, in fact, on the changeup. Also, I have him marked as split-proof. Again, as we go through this whirlwind together, you learn some of the terminology that I use. Again, shorthand stuff. I know these, it's been a bit long-winded the past few first episodes, but it's almost like getting the key, right? We're doing some of the descriptions. We're doing some of the legend work. And then we'll be able to scoot past it. And before you know, we'll be flying through it, speaking our own kind of language. So when I mentioned Luzardo is split proof. So he posted a sub 270 WOBA at home, away, versus lefties and righties. I mean, these are really the things you want to look at. It says a lot about a pitcher beyond just the statistic. The consistency usually speaks to a robust arsenal and the confidence to attack hitters on both sides, right? Avoiding those heavy splits and being able to travel well. So I think Luzardo is going to be excellent. I kind of like the Mets offense. Don't get me wrong, not to knock those let's go Mets go, but against lefties last year at least, just really middle of the pack. BA 109 WRC plus, bit better than average, but second lowest in K rate. That's not really striking out. So I don't think we want to be looking at that. I see Kevin up in the chat posted at plus 105 on the Peterson, and that's a good time to just take a second. Listen, get with BetStamp. Man, I do not shill nonsense. This is how you win at betting, right? If people want to know how you win at betting, well, part of it is having fun and breaking down games and hopefully finding edge. The other part is going to a store that has all the same product next to each other with different prices, and you get to pick the best price. And sometimes the prices are completely different. So there is a difference between getting this Peterson play at 105 and minus 108, and getting it at minus 108 and where it might finish at minus 130, and then the plus 105 compared to the minus 130 where it might close. Just that itself, we can have the same exact plays throughout the year. And I could be a winner and you could be a loser. So make sure you hook up with BetStamp. It's betstamp.app /call-to-the-pen. And man, I got to tell you, it's great. Really clean app and all that stuff. I'll tell you, if I recommend it, it's good. I hate to be like that, but if I use it, I'm so OCD and compulsive that if something slows me down, like I'm just not gonna rock with it, man. So make sure you're shopping around. My mama said, you got to shop around. She told me you better shop around because it really matters. The picks are important, but the price is more important. Imagine going to buy a Snapple and it's like $1, and then the other one is like $1.50. Some people say let's do a little winner mentality also. So Loser mentality, I don't care how much money you make or is in your pocket. Loser mentality is 50 cents. That's loser mentality. Winner mentality says 50 cents on a dollar, it's 50%. No way, that's a losing deal. That's a premium I'm not going to eat. Okay, difference. Rich dad, poor dad, that stuff matters when you roll with us. So as much as I like the Mets offense, I think I'm going to leave it flat. I don't know how this one's going to shake out. Two pretty good teams. I do think the Mets kind of outlast the Marlins because I think they have the edge on both sides. I'm not a fan of the Marlins bullpen, but my money is going to be on the K prop. But Mets at even money is probably where my lean would be. Of course, the money on the fish is because of Lazardo. He is he's downright dominant. And I truly think he was being slept on in fantasy circles. This whole injury thing, people. I know this is a baseball show, but I've been referring to the Christian McCaffrey principle. Right, where we were just browbeaten to death. Oh my God, this guy can't survive. It never happened. You have to draft a guy that didn't miss a practice since high school. That's how you get 17 games guaranteed. And like, look, egg all over faces, and egg is the nice thing on your face if you really want to get down to it. So, forget about the injury stuff. If guys are hurt now, then they're hurt. If guys are not hurt now and they're throwing 98, to me, they're not hurt, especially in the betting world. I understand for fantasy, you don't want to tie up tons of money in season-long stuff, which is why I prefer, personally, best ball, door closes, we draft, we're out, no work, and then betting or DFS. We're going to bet on the guy that's healthy today. It's hard enough to get a guy make it through one game, forget an entire season. So all the cool stuff that you get when you roll with us, that's Mets versus Marlins, man. Wow, where else do you get that? And a bag of chips, the one-man band kind of banging the drum, blowing the harmonica. I just do it, man. I do it all. I love it, man. I love it. How crazy. My wife must be nuts. You're damn right she is. All right, next up, it's the Pale Hose, the White Sox on the wrong side of the track in Chi-Town against those trash can banging Astros, man. It's Last Lynn and Christian Javier, which is very funny because as much as I like the matchups and as much as I like these pitchers, this is not really like where we want to be betting, right? When you have strength on strength, until we get the word, right? Until we get the sign that the ball is not carrying, and it's too early for that yet, I'm not trying to go under, right? It's always been an over game. I'm not trying to go under. We were under because of the ball and the environment, but I was just not quite there yet. So just something to, when you get like aces and aces, these are games I like to watch and not so much games I like to bet on where I'm looking for edge, right? Good. You don't want to short the Astros. Now, how about this? Let's do another one quick. Something that I kind of brought from trading. I know I saw some people in there in the chat talking about having a trading experience. Not really. The carryover is amazing. Yeah, Steve mentioned that. Man, it's having like a written plan, and I like a written plan, right? Not just a plan, because I almost said having a plan. That's everybody. Everybody's process is to have a process. When you ask them about the process, their process is just to say having a process, but I'm not sure there actually is a process. So what I did trading, right? This is post combine. We could talk about that too at another point. It was I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Was to write down rules, right? So you don't play unders in cores, right? You don't go under on the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. You don't go under on the Astros. So that's where I was going at. Sorry, I got sometimes a tangent and the balls kind of fall off the stick. It happens. I know I mentioned a combine. If we have any newbies out there, listen, feel free to hit us up, get in the comments. I'm here for you, right? You know what I'm saying? And I found as a newbie trader and sports bettor included, I put myself through a combine, meaning force yourself to show 30 days of profit before you go with live cash, and it'll probably save you a bunch of money. Most people fail the first few times, and boom, it'll save you a bunch, and that way you won't be chasing and stuff. And if you end up doing it a bunch of times, you may end up refining a process and learning along the way without costing you anything, right? Free education. Feather in the cap. That didn't get a like button. Man, we should unlike this video and then like it again because that one earned the double like. All right, White Sox and Astros. Let's stop fooling around. Johnny, let's get into it. Lance Lynn, the crotch grabbing. Michael Jackson, woo, when he's up there doing the thing. 113 whip, 399 ERA, sub 700 OPS, but right at that 700 mark, the earn run indicator's pretty good. However, Lance Lynn really strong in the second half. That's where he kind of shined because of the injuries. 2.52 ERA in the second half. He's strong against both sides because of the sub 4% walk rate. Also one of the first strike leaders. You'll notice Lance Lynn gets up there. He's there to work. He's probably one of those guys that'll benefit from the pitch clock. He gets up there, he's going to work, he's going to get ahead, right? That's kind of his thing. So expect more of that. The thing is, the Astros, again, very disciplined offense. So where we like a pitcher like Lynn, it's very tough to go up against him. You don't need to bet all the time. I don't want to bet all the time. So Astros on the year last season, top 3 in K, top 5 in walk rate, top 5 in zone contact rate at 88%. So when they don't strike out and have an 88% zone contact rate, we know Lynn throws a ton of fastballs, and it's really not great. 45% use, 93-mile-an-hour fastball. However, this is something that, again, you really need like the extra nuance. You're not even going to find this on the Savant page because we're now learning there are pitchers that have different four-seam fastballs that are all bucketed as four-seamers. Lance Lynn is one of those guys. So when you see a 33% whiff rate on a fastball, but he has 18 inches of vertical movement, too much sink, only 4 inches of horizontal movement, not enough run. How does he do that? Because he's throwing different types of it, meaning he knows, right, from measuring these things, with more velocity comes more run and vice versa. And he'll use that in different counts against different hitters or the same hitter in different times to keep them off balance. And it's almost like a slight change up, not a change up, but a true change up, but it's a change space up. So keep an eye on Lynn, although I think everyone's in trouble against the Astros. It's young line versus old line. Houston offense versus righties. They're more of a top 10 than a top 5, but ahead they're awesome, right? So I do think the Chicago first 5 run line plus half run, it was near even money this morning, is live. But I wouldn't go the full game because I think of the bullpen use, right? Raylo was out there yesterday. Graveman was out there yesterday, and they both got touched. So I have that one circled, but I don't know if I'm going to go get it because, again, I'm not really sure I wanted to challenge the Astros. Again, I just like to be fully transparent. I ended up with other plays, so this one ended up on the cutting room floor. But some people like more robust tickets, and these are, things that I have marked as winners. And again, if you're into all the stuffs and all the things, you can check me out on Twitter. It'll take you to my betting page. We go 24/7 and just doing everything. You're going to be sick. I model every single game every day, and it's just too much. I'm too much. If you haven't noticed so. I like Lynn, but I think we'll be betting on him later in the year. I like the Houston offense. I think we'll be betting on them later in the year. Christian Javier, another guy, split-proof sub 270 WOBA, home and away, lefty and righty. He's really good. Doesn't have a single pitch below a 27% whiff rate, now featuring that slider, 28 use, 211 X slug, 40% whiff rate. Think about that. A 211 expected slug with 40% whiff rate. This is one of the better pitches in the game. Javier on his way towards a Cy Young march, in my opinion, if he stays healthy. So keep an eye on him. Chicago offense versus righties, bottom 10 in OPS, but big, shaking butt, like get the garden hose out, near the top in K rate. So they are making contact against righties. As much as we like Javier in a swing and miss, I think we might see the weak contact Javier more than we see the swing and miss Javier, and he does them both. 30% hard hit rate on Fangraphs for Javier, 33% on Savant, 7% barrel sub, 4% blast, a 244 xWOBA, 308 expected WOBA on contact. That's Christian Javier. Machi, Liberace. This guy is freaking bananas. He is so good. He didn't really ring up the way he should have last year because the Astros spaced him out every 6 days. Keep an eye on Javier. If he starts to go every 5 days, opposed to 6, like you make a move for him in fantasy, but also we're going to keep him circled every X amount of days, regardless, for betting. So Javier, total ace, but be careful with the K prop, right? That was the thing we wanted to look at. Also, we know Chicago White Sox are a very heavily split team, right? So we're going to like them on offense against lefties more than we like them against righties. Again, bottom 10 OPS is really, really bad. So this one probably isn't under, but again, I just don't short the Astros. To give you an idea of like, well, if you like this, why don't you go at it? Some people are just more aggressive than I am. Excuse me. I am sorry about that. So, all right. Just to walk you through it again, fully transparent. And again, that's also why I like to print not just the algo score, but you'll see if you follow that stuff, all the differences and how I grade them. So I know there are people out there that go after the algo work and play everything above a certain number, right? And they go for the probability. They measure everything. But I can't just recommend all the million plays to everybody because I don't want to get everyone in trouble. That's the most important thing to me. I hate that. I hope this doesn't upset anybody. But maybe more important that you win is that you don't lose, right? That you don't lose your shirt. It's more important to me than you making $1 million. You want that, you can go get that somewhere else. You want to do $1 billion parlays, or again, you can follow my algo, just play all the winners. But I assure you, I don't do that. I'm really in this for the long run. I think sustainability is the name of the game, right? Not depositing. Depositing is just the absolute worst. All righty, let's do the next one, man. Where else are you getting all this good stuff? Rate, review, and subscribe. It's Call to the Pen HQ. I guess, I don't know, are we the sister? Are we the brother? What are we? Because the kissing cousin of the Hammer HQ. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get canceled before I'm a week in. All right, it's Rockies and it's Padres. We got the Rocks and the Friar Tucks. It's Kyle Freeland. Yes, he's still in the league, rocking a reverse split. This is something we noticed and I wanted to mention, that you got to be careful just purely chasing splits. Sometimes pitchers have reverse splits and it's for a reason. Their movement on the pitch is inadequate, and you don't have the arsenal to make up for it. Let's check it out. Freeland with the reverse split, a 398 WOBA plus 900 OPS to lefties. The fastball and the sinker against lefties combined. See, and this is the problem. The fastball isn't good enough to be differentiated from the sinker. Why? Because it has too much sink. So they're too similar. When you add them together, it's a 53% use, a 340 expected batting average, 670 X slug. Holy cow, are you kidding me? 53 use. That reason it matters. Now we're talking more than half the time. We hope that the Padres analytics team is at least as good as I am. They're going to know that you don't have to swing in anything. And, well, who better to not chase than my boy Juan Soto? Ring it up. We got play number 2. I want to get this one also. I don't usually do this, but I want to be clear when we play things like home run props. Turn down the risk, please. I usually play a third. Generally, in the beginning of the season, my plays are a third of a unit being a percentage of risk. I think we posted a unit yesterday. We'll smooth that stuff out. But whatever direction you do go in, 1/3 of a standard play, let's call it, right? So everyone can play this. Not about how much money you spend. I don't care about that. Let's get on the Juan Soto home run. Okay, my man versus left-handed fastballs last year. I actually have seen this number up around 600. That's what I grabbed and posted, although this might be a bit of evidence of us moving the market. I posted this for my subs early this morning. Oh, we do got one out there. Yes, of course. Production is on it. Betstamp is on the job, proving how the big difference. $450 at one shop, $650 at another. Let's take it at least. If you get 5 or better, I think that's a great number. We want 550 because I got 600. But I think if for anyone out there that's listening on the podcast, audio only people, rate, review, and subscribe. Those 5-star reviews are the compliment day. Tutti compliment. Just the best way to keep me in this chair going forward, this year and beyond. So maybe to that, let's just spin a quick bowl. Again, if you missed the show yesterday, we talk about spinning bowls. If you remember the Gong Show or the Ed McMahon Show, I'm not quite Ed McMahon, hi-oh, not that old, but you remember the Gong Show. Guys spinning bowls on sticks, right? The circus music is like playing and stuff. And what happens is, I like to think of that as my analogy for critical thought. And each bowl, right, is a piece of the thought. And as long as you get back to it before it falls off the stick, it'll stay relevant. So to the home run stuff, right? While we talk about home runs, there's always more. I know I always kind of overdo it, but there's always more. Sink your teeth in. Don't be afraid. We're going to learn. We're going to live. We're going to laugh. We're going to fail. Whatever, it happens. Home run props have not caught up to the change, the degradation in power, right? Home run props were plus 300. The number of home runs dropped. I covered this at The Athletic. We had only 23 players hit 30 home runs last year. That number is down 60-odd percent, 62%, whatever. Don't hold me to it, please. Since 2019. And the odds are, still the same. And sometimes even worse. So you got to be careful on home run props. But when you isolate plus 500, now we're talking 5-1. Remember, a guy like Juan Soto could always get you in trouble with base props. So I wanted to mention that also. His total base is at a half a base, minus 180. I don't want that juice. If he puts the stick on the ball, it's going out. You take the 5-1 home run over the minus 180 half a base. He doesn't swing enough. He's too patient. So a guy like Juan Soto can hurt you. With total base props. But when you get juiced up for the homers, let's go get Juan Soto versus left-handed fastballs last year. Who's got the microscope out like this? 66% hard hit, 18% barrel, OPS north of 1,000 with a 435 expected WOBA. Yeah, Daddy, give me that home run. I think he is going to go ham today. You know those barrels. If we get our hands on a Juan Soto barrel against a subpar Kyle Freeland fastball, we should see each other at the window. Also, if you're a DFS player, maybe want some other props. The one that fell on the cutting room floor, but it is definitely viable. And I may add later on today is Manny Machado, last year crushing lefties. As always, 855 OPS, a 253 ISO. That number is at plus 130. You know I love the plus money. More importantly, the reason we like to use ISO, right? ISO is isolated slugging. It's quite literally extra base hit percentage, right? So 256 is 25.6%. We're expecting 4 to 5 at bats. Do the math. Got a 25% chance at an extra base hit, and we should get 5 at bats. And we even could address that mini bowl on player props. Always keep an eye on the home away. Now, I don't avoid home, but remember, you get guaranteed the last at bat when you're away. The thing is, if you're at home and you're the favorite, you probably cover that PA as is. So just something to think about, a little bit of the nuance and the context that you get when you roll with Call to the Pen HQ, your host, the big dude. You're just the one-man bizant going absolutely bananas, BANANAS, doing the thing I do, man. So, yeah, I like Soto and I like Manny. I think you could chalk them up. That's like a mini DFS stack. If you're into all that stuff, again, I'm ubiquitous, man. Don't be afraid. Get at us with absolutely everything that you got. Hit me with your best shot. Other side, it's Nick Martinez. I don't know. He seems to grade out pretty well. I'll be very honest, not to quote my own proprietary model. My model is very strict, right? It's very hard to fool. So when it tends to like a guy, I don't know how to explain it. That's what I mean, is the model likes Nick Martinez and I don't. Like, it's a deep arsenal. He can throw it to both sides, and I guess that's part of it. He keeps people guessing. 30% whiff rate on the change in the curve, which is really good, right? Those are the benchmarks. That's at the center of his success. But the fastball is just so bad. It's up a mile and a half, up a mile year over year, 21, 22. But still at 93 miles an hour, 18% whiff rate. The shape is not any good. So I have a hard time with Martinez. If you're not buying what Nick Martinez is selling, you want to be looking at Colorado. Both CJ Cron and Ryan McMahon had a better than 13% barrel rate and minimum 7 home runs against right-handed fastballs last year. So if you're not buying Martinez, first of all, if you're not buying what Martinez is selling, you've got to be going over on that game. And I'm not over on that game because my model is just so opposed to it. Again, I print all this stuff. I love the feedback. People say, what don't you see? Or, oh, now I understand. And listen, it's totally open source. It's wide open. You're not going to be able to reverse engineer it. Too many hours of work into it. But you get an idea, and I try to do my best explaining it. Again, not just referring to my model this, my model that. That's like the worst thing ever. I hate when people do that with proprietary stuff. Now, granted, it does a lot of the work for us, and it's the reason why we get so much darn CLV, because I understand what people like. I know what bettors want. I know what degenerates like. Understanding what they're going to be chasing, I program that first. Understand, and I have that worked into part of my model, is like the human error in anticipation, which I think that's what separates me. I tend to think of it as the art greater than science. Sometimes I've got yelled at this by actual scientists, calling it frog DNA, if you remember Jurassic Park, right? Kind of filling in the gaps. We can't accurately predict this. And I think the quant people are trying to do that maybe too accurately. And that's really tough to do, right? It's really tough to absolutely predict baseball. You're not going to do that. So I think you use the strongest inputs you could find, and then you kind of fill in the rest with the best you can, which is what I do, and I kind of do it openly. And again, make fun of me all you like. I'm here betting every single day. I can be doing something right. All right, so that's Rockies and Padres. Again, if you don't like Nick Martinez, you probably like the over. We love the Soto home run. We're locking that in at 1/3 of the risk. Johnny doing his best to be very clear about the plays, right? Sometimes I have to vocalize these things. All right, man, let's get it. We are rounding second. I love these short slates because it gives us a chance to show off in the nicest way our ability to analyze the game. And what I hope truly is, as this community grows, right, as we connect and build together, right? And you're telling people about the wackiest, wildest baseball show you ever seen, Call to the Pen HQ, with that dude, of a certain size. We're making it fun again, right? Make baseball fun again. We are covering baseball like football. I absolutely love it. It doesn't have to be boring. And I'll tell you what, man, I had my wife keeping an eye on baseball with the pitch clock, and I'm not going to lie, she wasn't on the edge of her seat. But she was like, oh, wait, you can't like check your phone between pitches? No, you can't like check your phone between pitches anymore. There's no more, the grabbing, the wrist, the gloves, the this, the that. It's just absurd. It was absurd, right? Who wants to watch another Robinson Cano 5-2 skidoo taking 45 seconds out there and then, grounding out? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So I actually like the new stuff. The rules we'll see. Steals are through the roof. Keep your eye on stolen base props. That'll be the next thing. I didn't get a chance. I need an apprentice. My young apprentice. That's really what I need. I'm kind of over my skis. All right. Next up, we got the Snakes with shapes on their back. The Diamondbacks going to Hollywood, always up to no good. The Trolley Dodgers, man, broke our hearts yesterday. We had Arizona with the run line getting the half run at positive money through 5. I like Zach Gallen a lot. I also wasn't sure about the Dodger rookies, right? Whatever. We didn't pay juice. We didn't get destroyed. We were up 2-zip. And we lost, right? And if you saw it, it's so heartbreaking, wasn't it? Will Smith, who's a fantastic hitter, right? Let's not confuse it. We're not crying about this. Will Smith's a fantastic hitter, like inside out, loop-de-loop. It was such filth. It was so filthy, and we got filthified, and we lost, but we crushed that Toronto. And I told you, Toronto was going to get that over by themselves. So especially when the model rings really heavy on totals. I'm not a big total guy, but when the model rings on totals, you'll find me going after them. So this not being one of those games. All right, they got Merrill Kelly on the bump, the most vanilla of all the vanilla pitchers. Let's do a little Merrill Kelly. You got 200 of the most boring innings of your life. 3.37 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. That's all really good. But like I said, boring as hell. 4 Sierra, 4 deserved ERA. Probably spells more of the case, right? 22% K, 9.7 swinging strike, because he lives in the heart of the plate, one of the highest heart rates, but not this bubble heart rate. I actually like to split. And again, we split this again. I'm going to just take a second to shamelessly promote my own stuff, because I really do believe my work is the best. I put out a custom, this is my personal work that I've now finally refined and introduced. You can go get it for free. I should have led with it. I just didn't want this to be about me. It's not about me. It's about you and the new channel and getting over to YouTube, subscribing and stuff, and helping build this cool thing that we're up to. But every morning, part of the betting pack, it's free right now. I just want people to abuse it while it's free, see how cool it is, and then maybe you want it, whatever. I put out a advanced pitching sheet every single day. Again, you can get my Twitter handle. We'll take you right to it. It's free right now. And you can follow along our work here. And if you check it in the morning, again, we don't want your money. Go check it. We don't have to pay $1. Monday afternoon, I'll see you on Monday. I do work 6 days a week. Sunday, even the big man rest. I got to hang out with my family. I have a smoking hot wife. I got to keep her happy. 2 beautiful kids. So, yeah, I started thinking about her. But hey, listen, that's my thing to unplug. We talk about it all the time, right? Don't gamble too much. Take a little bit of time to disconnect, recharge, think about what really matters, and the patience and responsibility that it takes to be really good at it. So, yeah, I'll see you Monday. You have the pitching sheet. You can follow along. I'm very compulsive, so it's very compartmentalized. And I really hope it's the best avenue right now towards bridging that gap of advanced statistics that people maybe find a bit too difficult. And the geeky sharps that use it, like myself, I don't know how else to do it. I hate doing it sounding overconfident. It just is what it is, right? You work at stuff, you get good at stuff. Me practice stuff. Okay, you know what I mean? I'm about that smart. So Kelly is boring as all hell, but he can pitch any pitch to any handedness at any time. And you'll hear me repeat that, and that really matters. The reason, maybe more than anything, is when you hear pitchers talk about they didn't have a certain pitch, right? It's not breaking a certain way. They go somewhere else with it. Or, of course, if you're primarily a 2-pitch pitcher and you don't have one of those pitches, you don't have anywhere else to go with it, and then you end up in a lot of trouble. So the robust arsenals you hear me talk about, and the ability to go to different handedness, targeted approaches. Again, some of the taxonomy, right? Some of the lingo that you get when you hang out here, the Hammer HQ and Call to the Pen HQ. And again, remember, we're always pricing stuff on BetStamp. If it was, my vision was a little bit better, I'd be looking at the phone right now. I would never keep my eye off because that's really where it's at when you want to get these, when it's all about the pricing and stuff. So, all right, yesterday the Diamondbacks broke my heart. Kelly's boring. However, LA Dodgers scored 3 runs against him all 3 times they faced him last year, and it probably speaks to that, right? They're willing to wait for the proper pitch to make the right contact. The cutting room floor didn't get to Freddie Freeman, but he killed righties last year. 918 OPS, 418 expected WOBA. He's one of the premier hitters in the game. He's objectively excellent at baseball. I probably should have priced his total bases. We're gonna have to move on, so I don't want to waste any time. It is plus money, plus 105. That's right. He fell behind Machado at plus 130. Again, a lot of times I don't try and predict this Kelly stuff. Like, there's a 62% probability of this happening and 63% probability of that. If you could be that accurate, you'd be better at this than everyone else. So whatever. I go by the prices. Freeman at 105 falls below Manny Machado at plus 130. But remember, they're also really good hitters, which I know it's a caveman analysis. Also, again, very good. Dodgers home team. I still think you get the at bat because he is certainly going to hit in the top third. Always be careful of that. Big lesson for prop betting. The lineup placement. Freddie Freeman is a top 3 hitter no matter what, right? Certain players are cemented. But you'll find I have gotten smoked. Now, I've done better than not, but I've gotten smoked trying to chase anticipated lineup moves, and you'll see this when you follow my work. What I truly believe is a piece of edge. Anticipating the lefty coming and knowing certain teams are just so disparate with their deployment. San Francisco Giants is one of those teams. So last year was Lamont Wade, for example, and his splits are crazy, but his overall stats are garbage. So you know that he's going to bat first against, lefties. And that's what we did. And it worked. There's a couple of teams like that too. Sorry, I'm struggling. I stepped on a rake. I got caught kind of stumbling and mumbling and bumbling there for a minute. But yeah, there are teams that will have disparate lefty-righty lineups. You can anticipate that and get in front of it. And sometimes you'll find Lamont Wade is one of those guys, although now I feel like I might have swapped his lefty-righty stuff. But regardless, the point remains. Plus 185, right, for a leadoff hitter on the road, guaranteed that extra plate appearance. Those are how you make your money in prop betting, in my opinion. So, context and nuance at the center of all this stuff. Other side, it is Dustin May, man, my ginger hero. I love him so very much. He's kind of caught some heat from the fantasy community. I think they're wrong. He's one of my breakouts, and I'll give you a freebie. If you subscribe to my betting stuff, you get all the futures work I'd like to put out. I have these kind of layered futures tickets where if anyone hits, the whole thing pays off. And if one ticket hits, it pays off 3 other ones. Right? You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't bet 35 million units on the mega whale play. Like, I actually have had to do this stuff to keep the lights on and keep my kids fed. So I understand how difficult it can be and how important it is to have a stringent risk plan and ignore all the noise and truly stay focused on the signal, which I hope, is that a good nickname for me? They call me the signal, Who knows what darkness lies in the hearts of men? The signal. So, that's really all the stuff that matters. I really like Dustin May. He has 2 money pitches. First off, it's a curveball. I have described it on social media as colon collapsing. I'm not sure how else to describe it. 21% use, 211 X-lug, 48% whiff rate. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. You can't not miss it. And if you get it, you can't do anything with it. 211 X-lug is like a whoop, nothing. We got So you got to keep an eye on the money pitches, particularly when there's 2, and I think that's a great place for F5 betting, especially. No, I'm not taking this one, but I just being particular. And then May has one of the best fastballs in the game, 98 miles an hour. And then, see, he combines those 2 dimensional aspects, which I think is so important, and what separates pitchers for me, right? So less than 14 inches of vertical ride, right? Remember, vertical ride, horizontal run, right? Arm side run, vertical ride, right? Ride like the roller coaster, run to the side. So he is able to combine an elite, I don't know what we call it, steepness. It's actually a lack of steepness. We don't call it flatness. I don't know. They call it rising, but that's the opposite of what it does. So I don't know. The taxonomy in this stuff is a little weird, right? So just understand, elite shape vertically, he keeps it flat with double-digit arm side run, right? So not only is he able to keep it up, remember what I mentioned, expanding that distance, right? Making it harder to get to the ball. And if you do, you get under it, pop-ups 0, 0, 0 XBA, the stuff that matters. But combined with all the run of a good fastball based on run. So he has the 2 money pitches, and he's like a freaking ground ball machine. I don't know why I get mad when people don't like my players. I do, man. Listen, I see the walk rate, but you're looking at 30 innings. He's not that. He's awesome. I don't know. It pisses me off. The ground ball rate is up over 50. Check this out. The fly ball rate is 29.5%. But, and this is the but, how you avoid, especially for fantasy, but even for betting, worrying about being told about expected home runs and these regressed home run fly ball rates. The fastballs that have the proper shape can kind of circumvent that regression because they allow the pitcher the ability to work up in the zone and turn those home runs because of the angle it's coming in and the height that you get under it. It forces a ton of pop-ups. So to just wrap this up in May so we can understand it. Not only is his fly ball rate low, you have to look at infield fly also. Fangraphs, when you add those things, they equal 100. Fly ball rate is not the only part of fly ball rate. You need has a little subset. So not only is the fly ball rate low at 30, the infield fly rate is as high as it goes at 13. Anything in the double digits is good. Anything above 12 is elite. So he forces an elite amount of pop-ups to go with all the ground outs and the swing and miss stuff with an elite fastball. Again, I have Dustin May on my Cy Young ticket, at like 60-1. So there's no games right now. We haven't really done futures, but if you want a little future, snap, you could really put a 0.01 on it, right, at 60-1. You don't even have to put the dime you would put on a dime, a tenth of a unit, 1/10 of 1% of stack. Again, everything's applicable. I need to be held to account. My process withholds all scrutiny. And I challenge, I challenge. I'm an open challenge. That's why you don't see people coming for my throat on Twitter, because I don't just tweet stupid emojis when I win. Like I lose, talk about how to lose, which is probably more important than how to win. All right, so how's that? Another feather in the cap. Rate, review, and subscribe. Every time I drop a good lesson, I'm gonna ask for promotion or self-promote. Press the like button because cartoon fingers matter way more than they should in this analytically driven world that we live in. So if you'd like to thank myself or our excellent producer, my man Coop in the back we are hanging with Mr. Cooper. Make no mistake. I've dropped a bunch of bad 90s references. I'm old. I'm dad, all that stuff. But whatever. I have a felony arrest, so I used to be cool, I think. All right. So that's your Charlie Dodgers and your Snakes. I don't think I'm really going to touch any of that. I guess the Dodgers get him, but I'm not really looking to test that water again. I like to go up against Dodgers, Yankees, Astros when I think I have a distinct edge, meaning like their hitting has to be off or they have to be missing players really at somewhere where I think we have an advantage. Faced up, Kelly May, I think we're going to get squashed. And I was mentioning yesterday why I have trouble chasing kind of run lines. Damani in the chat says, a great show. Thank you so much. I don't like to look and squint at the thing. I don't have to see if I can like blow this stuff up. I'm getting blind at that. What can you do, man? I used to, I don't know, stare at stuff. So D-backs and Dodgers, we wrapped it up. We got one last game, and we're gonna do. In case you thought like we did all the granular stuff, we're gonna readjust my arse for a second because we're getting ready to strap up. We're rounding third, and we are gonna score the rock. And of course, we are not going to walk it to home. We are going to Willie Mays Hayes, Major League 2 somersault into that bad MFer. So we got Guardians, we got Mariners. I don't know if you watched this game yesterday. It was like a playoff game, and I believe the pitch clock and the pace is added to that. It's keeping the focus. It's keeping the intensity. We had the pitchers do one. Love Luis Castillo. And the Mariners in general are, and that's another one. You could bet all Mariners futures. You have my blessing, like Rocky. Yeah. You have my blessing to bet pretty much all the Mariners futures. I think they're undervalued for like division, World Series, all that stuff. But let's focus on this game. Let's take a look. We got Hunter Gaddis up against Robbie Ray. So Gaddis at first, listen, you just got to be careful. I know I put this on the pitching sheet because it's like what I do, but it's only 7 innings. So he got rock and rolled in 7 innings. You don't really want to chase 7 innings. Very difficult to chase 7 innings. So I put destroyed in 7 innings, big whoop. His career in the minors, however, 251 innings pitched, more of like a full season, 3.9 ERA, 1.08 whip. But the things you want to be looking at, he had a more than 12 K per 9, right? So he was maintaining 30% K rate. So there is some strikeout stuff there. It just didn't show up here. But at the same time, 1.4 home runs per 9. So that actually tells me Again, we're inferring here because minor league data is not perfect. It's not that good even. I guess it's getting better. Sorry to people improving. I apologize. I'm wrong. What that tells me is his fastball is not great. It was able to get by minor league hitters, not able to get by major league hitters. And then you kind of take that inference, your hypothesis, and kind of go forward. So when you dive into diagnostics now, though I know I said we don't want to react to small samples of results, I would contest diagnostics are pretty sturdy, right? Healthy diagnostics, meaning you don't need many fastballs under the gun to see what a pitcher's got. So that information we do have, again, the nuance and the context that you get when you're rolling a call to the pen, HQ, kissing cousin of the Hammer HQ, my Can-Am connection, all my Canadian boys up there, north of the border. I imagine riding a moose, drinking maple syrup, right? That's what I've been told on Ren and Stimpy, at least. Oh, that's another 90s reference in your face. That was the best 90s reference so far. All right, so Gaddis's bad fastball. Notice I'm going to pivot from bad jokes into good analysis, hopefully. The bad fastball, 53% usage. I mean, these are the stats. The 53 use, it might be something replicated. These are the stats I only put because they're clownish. I had to double check. I thought it was fake. It's hard to believe. 943 X-Lug, 17% whiff, which would make it we're just about one of the worst fastballs in the major leagues. So I don't know where we're expecting that, but if that shape and usage maintained, I do think he's going to be in trouble. So let's get to our last play. We are getting ready to lock it in. It's my boy Julio Rodriguez. Let's get him down for a total base prop over 1.5 bases. It's at plus money and floating around. It's been, oh man, shame on me. I have to take a lowercase L. And I'm sorry, people, on my big nose, because this is on the sheet for a couple hours. And it's begun to move, right? So we posted early this morning plus 105. Now it's at minus 110. We can still get this. I was speaking to production and how important it is as we talk about the importance of betstamp, which again it's inimitable. It can't be compared right now. Look how beautiful. Not only is it beautiful and nice and easy on the eyes, 7, 10, 12 different books showing you where to save. Right now, the lines are pretty close. I think all these are viable. I would take this up to minus 115. We got plus 105. I think that earns me the minus 110. Again, follow all the betting work. If you're really into this stuff, again, I keep it, it's like $1 a week or something like that. It's not for the money. I just like helping people. I really do. Man, I kind of made, you know what it is? I hate big government. I hate big corporation stuff. Like I believe in like the self-made, bootstrapped, like self-taught. Like that's my kind of person, right? George Carlin is my favorite philosopher. And I think those are the people that gravitate towards me, and that's why I don't mind helping them so much. And if you are subscribed to any of my stuff, you'll know I'm going to answer email at like 3:30 in the morning, like legit. If I see it, I don't sleep well. I've had injuries that keep me up sometimes. All good. I'm answering it, and you're not a bother. I love you, man. I love you. I love you. Who remembers Brother Love? That's another 90s. Actually, might be that's an 80s reference going back to Piper's Pit. Okay, so Julio Rodriguez. Let's get this back on the track, right? Bad analogies, bad jokes, followed by good analysis. Julio Rodriguez, he is a killer. The fastball killer. Remember, we identified the 53% fastball rate, which is always very important because that's where hitters get the trigger to hold on everything else, and that's why it matters, right? So, right, we talked about the robustness of the arsenal. Talk about like a pivot into something that matters. 80s WWF to this stuff. When you get hyper use of a fastball, let's call it even 45% or better, hitters get told to just take. You're on the take. You're sitting dead red the whole time, right? And now that would kind of explain why Gaddis got beat up, and it doesn't make him a bad pitcher. I think we often do that, and I'm trying to correct my own analysis. He's probably not a bad pitcher. His arsenal is not robust enough. He's forced himself into a corner where he's relying on a fastball that's not good enough to play at the major leagues. And I felt like I could tell him that eye to eye without disrespecting him, because I don't, because these are the elite athletes. And not only that, like they do work that keeps us entertained, that keeps us and me employed, right? So I appreciate these people. Again, I was a union electrician back in my day, and the stadium creates thousands of jobs, and around Yankee Stadium, there's thousands of jobs, little people that no one ever thinks about, working by themselves. They're selling empanadas, and they're selling like churros and stuff, like legit mini micro businesses, little ecosystems being fed, by this. And we should not be calling these guys like they don't suck. I try not to do that. Hopefully, you don't call me out if I do. Up in the comments after you rate, review, and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. And after you're on Betstamp, but you should be just thinking, I shouldn't have to ask you to use Betstamp. Like it's like breathe air. It's good. Drink some water. That stuff is good. So Julio is probably going to smash 66 hard hit, 21% barrel, 400 X Woba, and 7 Ramalama Ding Dongs. So lock in that total base prop for Julio Rodriguez. Now I feel pretty strong. Right? We have the Peterson K, we have the Rodriguez total base prop, and remember 1/3 risk times home run prop 600. You can't be people putting units. We don't put full units on things like that. That's not how I roll. I have a 2% unit max. If you follow again the betting stuff, it's very micromanaged, and I think there's probably more lessons to be learned in how to manage one of these small businesses than Yankees are going to win, which is like stupid. So let's wrap this up strong with hopefully the best analysis of all, and it's my man Robbie Ray, Mr. Square Pants himself, coming off the Cy Young season, 2.84 ERA, 104 WHIP, 248K. Then the velocity drop last year, almost 2 miles an hour. Oh no! Through June 6th, he's doing terribly. 5 ERA, 1.3 WHIP, almost 2 home runs per 9. Run for the hills. However, but, big, shaking butt. The Mariners are a analytically driven team. Not only does that matter, like I said, pitch mix changes don't necessarily matter. They have to be good. The Mariners maximize, and that's what matters. They identified the bad fastball, 10% swing and strike, 10% barrel, 340 X Woba, introduced a sinker, and started throwing it 48% of the time immediately. So they introduced and featured a new pitch. After that point, 20 games started, 2.97 ERA, 112 WHIP, 28% K rate. So, will Ray have his normal velocity? It seems so. Will he begin with the new pitch mix? It also seems so. So I got all the Robbie Ray today. Cleveland offense also versus lefties, at least last year, they were terrible. Bottom 5. Bottom 4 even are worse. OPS, WRC+, hard hit rate, and ground ball rate. They were also dead last in home run to fly ball. So I know people worry about fly balls with home runs, I should say, with Robbie Ray. Or fly balls turning into home runs, right? Not so worried against the Guardians. So I like that one also. If I didn't, here's another lesson. Get ready, incoming. I mean, I drop dimes. Like that's why people like me. Okay. That's why, even if they don't like me, that's why they use my information. Like I drop dimes, So the reason everyone, they're like, well, why aren't we smashing? Look, can we get the Mariner board up? The reason why we're not smashing the Mariners, as much as I like the Seattle F5 run line, that one is viable. I don't like to double bet, and that was the lesson I meant to get at. So I think I printed that Seattle run line this morning. So I want to be, again, I am so transparent. I'm never going to hold anything to you because like paywall for $1 somewhere. Trust me, I don't care. Just kind of to keep the lights. That's why more than anything, people know me. I like to keep pushing production quality. I want this to be better. And I think we might be able to take this thing of ours right to the fore. Like, imagine being able to change the way baseball is digested and understood because of one crazy person and a lot of other slightly less crazy people kind of saying, yeah, this is the sport we love and this is how we want to talk about. We don't want some idiot, quirky guy with some girl or something next to him that don't know, neither one of them know nothing. They don't know nothing. Know nothing about the game, nothing about the science, nothing about the profession. They know about the media side. They can put the lights on. They know how to run an HD camera. But the information is, it's terrible. Fugazi. Disgust, terrible. Just the worst. It's just the worst. In fact, it's going to hurt you. Most of these betting shows, in fact, I like them because I'll listen to it just to know to go the other way because it was so stupid. It's almost like I wouldn't be surprised if like shilling for the betting companies. All right, now if I don't get canceled for my bad references, I'm going to get canceled for trashing just trash like 90% of the industry. So if you're in the 1%, the 10% like to hang with us, man, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe, of course. What else we got, man? We got anything good? So, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, it was the double betting. I'm sorry. That was the last lesson. See, I grabbed the bowl. It was spinning off the stick, but I grabbed it. And then we're going to get out of here right at the hour mark, right before we go. I love you all so much. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down. And it's going to be like this every day. In case you were wondering if there's going to be any dead space, the answer is no. And in fact, if you really want to get nuts, you want to push it, let's push it to the limit. All right. You get out there, you tag my boss. Rob loves to be tagged on social media. Make sure you tag Rob Pizzola, and we are going to push for the lineup show, right? Because that's what I really wanted to do. I think player prop stuff, like I said, we need the lineups because that's where it's at. And the lineup might come out before the line is, and you get a chance to really kind of hammer that stuff. See, like I'd rather give it for free than even it's behind a paywall, whatever. That's who cares? Stupid. So the double betting is the last thing before I get out of here. That's why I didn't post in reverse, right? Either one, I like the Julio total base 1.5 prop. I also like the Seattle 1.5 run line. I think we get them. Someone in the chat asked on the 2.5 earned run, Steve. Yeah, I think so. Although I do like the other ones better. I think I like my bets better than yours. No, I like yours also. It's pretty good. There's also you got to put a price, man. You know me, man. You know Steve. Steve, I got deep pockets and I got really short arms, and those two things don't work. It's very hard to get that cash out of my pockets, Hobie. So you got to put a cash anytime you're going to put a bet, right? Because if that one was plus money, I'd probably like it. But yeah, I think the Rays get it done. But yeah, I just don't like to double bet. And this is something that comes from trading, right? We have some traders in the room. And again, I appreciate you all. Where, and this, I mentioned this before calling it the Kelly crew, right? I just pissed off 99% of the industry trying to determine what our own probability is. And I believe, again, I'm not saying anyone is wrong and I'm right. This is just my working theory. And if you don't like it, I'm stupid. It's fine. I believe we overassign these probabilities oftentimes. And a lot of times these games are closer to 50-50 than they should be. And trying to compound our own indicators as a boost to probability, I actually think gets you in trouble. And I can't say I can prove it, but I can say I've seen some very smart people show this through studies in trading. That doesn't make it absolutely true. It doesn't make me right. I'm not saying you can't do it another way. That's not how I do it. I'm just saying for me. It doesn't mean you can't bet two things in the same game. If you could see where I'm going, I'd probably split them. And I just don't want too complex of a ticket, and that's why I make it easy, try to make it simple. But long story long, right? In 5.5 million words or less. That's why I didn't put the run line and Julio, because I actually think it's a leadoff Julio home run that gets us there. And you get them all at once. But I don't, like I said, don't like to stack indicators. I actually think, it's gotten me in trouble as a young trader. And then I learned more about it. And I think, you identify value with predetermined risk, let it roll. Rather than, and again, not calling anybody out, but you're just not going to ever see me posting minus 2,500 because I think there's a 98% probability. And again, I don't mean you can't do it. I don't do that. I don't want that aggravation. I'm not going to deal with that stuff. So, Insight says, set a budget, focus on the long term, and finally manage your portfolio. I have to say, I'm digging that because you're a testament to, hopefully the wisdom of the crowd, right? That it's not just me professing, right? We're building like the culture of Fisher people. All right, let's get out of here. That's enough for me. 1 hour, that's certainly enough for me. So our plays are out there, right? We've got Julio Rodriguez over 1.5 total bases. We have David Peterson over 5.5 strikeouts. And we have Juan Soto is going to give us the Ramalama Ding Dong. But right, we're making sure that's a 1/3 dialed down risk. So if you were following the 1/3 unit method, 1/10. And if you were going with a full unit, right, if you're doing that, which is again fine, they're all the same as long as you translate properly, 1/3 on those long odds. And that will do it. So from Big Johnny, Rob, and Mr. Cooper in the back, working the ones and the twos, thank you for picking up what we're putting down here at Call to the Pen HQ. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Stick your cartoon finger all the way inside me. Check out the Hammer HQ for all the great golf stuff. I know Rob is obsessing over the NFL draft. He's got great hockey stuff. So hopefully we're kind of, scratching out our little corner here of unique, highly analytical, and hopefully even kind of funny analysis. Because for all the work that I do, I have to enjoy myself, or I'm gonna go nuts, man. They're gonna go nuts. I promise you, this show is going to be exactly the way it's going to be in late August. But it ain't easy, so I have to, make it sustainable. And I think that'll be the last lesson before we get out of here is, like I mentioned, break up the gambling with fun. It doesn't have to be family. I'm a Disney dad. You don't have to do that. Write, hunt, video games, draw, anything, literally anything that's not gambling. Just unplug. And that's what I'm going to do. So, appreciate you all. I hate leaving you. We'll see you on Monday, 12 o'clock. Show up with the pitching sheet, and you'll be able to follow along, ask some really cool questions if you don't understand in real time. And then, Fred, you want to talk about level it up. So, all right. I see you then. Enjoy the weekend. And remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck, yo. Peace.